So welcome back to the Brothers Geek Out podcast. And today's Lights, Camera, Action episode, we have the awesome creatives. Actress, writer, second unit director, producer Erin Anie, and writer-director Carl Vale. I probably messed that up because they've done so much more work. They survived a zombie apocalypse. They built something that runs itself. And they're about to tell us how. We'll be talking about ZombieCon Volume 1, Autonomous, which is a vertical style movie, little horror movie, and the chaos, the creativity, the grind behind it all, and, you know, building something together. And these two people have lived it. Erin and Carl, thank you so much for coming up on the show. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Please do remember, do all the good stuff. Like, share, comment, subscribe. It really helps the podcast page out, and we get to do cool things like this. So, enjoy the episode. Hi, I'm Kibbs.
And I'm G-Man.
I'm all about art, comics, and movies.
I'm passionate about martial arts, comics, and movies.
And we're the Brothers Geek Out podcast. Join us every fortnight while we dive into the world of pop culture, from movies, gaming, TV shows, and comics.
Real world issues, mental health, and everything geeky in between.
So if you're ready to geek out with us,
hit play to join the conversation.
This is the Brothers Geek Out podcast. Massive thank you for making the time for jumping onto the podcast, guys. I'm super grateful. We've got Carl and Erin on, who so Erin stars in these movies and writes, and you got Carl who directs, and like I want to give you props. And I think was it Edward? Is it Edward? I need to double check. Yes, director of photography on ZombieCon Volume 1 is stunning.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job.
It is brilliant. That was like such a treat to watch a movie with visuals like that, but give me kind of that 80s vibe. But I did get to watch that movie only this morning because I was running around trying to get everything in place and thinking. I saw Autonomous, guys, and that's what we're going to be talking about. And I'm sorry, I'm jumping around everywhere.
I love it.
Only because I suppose my nerves get the best of me when I talk about movies. Like I adore film. I adore creatives in the industry. I adore watching things like that translate so well. And like I hoped that in my time as an artist that I could do things like that. And yes, I do similar things, but you guys are like this powerhouse team that have actually put together so much already. You guys have had one hell of a journey so far.
Thank you.
What an intro. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm truly honored. Thank you so much for having us. It's great to be here. Thank you for watching our art. And we're pumped to be able to talk about it.
Oh, absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. ZombieCon Volume 1. Okay. Emotional, funny, action-packed. A lot of gore. Erin, how did you deal with all of that amount of blood just spraying everywhere? Like that first scene, I was like, okay, this is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
What's cool is that first scene is actually the first time that we even shot the first zombie kill and everything. So even though I was a producer on it, I just never thought to ask Kyle, like, okay, so how much blood what is your plan with our makeup artist? Like, I just kind of went in a little bit blind in that regard. And I'm glad I did, because my shock and surprise, I mean, that was the first time we didn't have any dress rehearsals. That was the first time I got hit with a whole face full of blood. I didn't know how it was going to feel and taste and the whole, like, surrealness of it. But yeah, it was amazing. It was a lot of fun. I dealt with it with great enthusiasm, I would say.
Bless you. It looked good. Like as I said, like with the visuals itself and the lighting and the colors, like you don't really see movies pop as much anymore, even in mainstream like cinema. So getting to see movies that really work good with lighting and colors, it's just refreshing for the eyes to see. And I think being a fan of like all the 80s and 90s movies that I grew up with, like I see elements of that in ZombieCon Volume 1, which was amazing. And great direction, Carl. Like you've been working in the industry for a little while, so like with the catalog of things you've done, like it was absolutely awesome, dude. Like I had a great time, and it made me feel like part of the team as well.
Oh, thank you so much. That means the world. That was, I think, the intention going in, and Definitely inspired by all the 80s and 90s films, like you were saying. Yeah, that's where I grew up, so that's my bread and butter. That's like
Yeah.
kind of the best memories in my mind. And being my dad being a bit of a cinephile, I probably got a little bit more of the 80s, even though I was born, closer to the 90s end of it. But yeah, those movies kind of play on repeat in my head all the
Yeah.
time.
Oh,
So
that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Uh, I just feel like I'm going off the cuff here because like you guys have been together to put this production together, and it's like, how do you find the timing? You just said you've had a baby, and how did you kind of, because it gets a bit messy once you have a child there. Like even trying to do storyboarding, I find it quite difficult because you're still trying to maintain everything that's going on at home, but then you want to put 100% into the craft. Like, how did you guys work together to say, how do we do this?
well, I think it just comes down to balancing, right? It's all about it's a game against time,
Mm,
really, and how much time these things do take. But because Erin and I have been working together for the last like almost 15 years on stuff, we've come up with a pretty good system where I generally tend to go more into the planning production side. Erin
hmm
will handle more of the paperwork production side, which also takes different amounts of time. So as long as I get everything printed out properly,
mm.
Aaron can spell check it and get the names on the paper, and hopefully get a babysitter while we're actually on set. Now,
hmm
she can take care of liaising between cast, crew, making sure everything's signed, getting everything to whoever's going to be doing the payment processing for the piece. And then I'm usually kind of heading up the production side. Okay, getting the camera kit together, getting the lighting kit together, organizing the crew, getting the cast together. Then after that, getting costumes together, and a deviation of responsibility is key. Uh,
Yes.
Yeah.
to really put a fine point on it, I don't know how we manage it. It's been like just thinking about it. It is it's something that I don't think we could do if we didn't genuinely love it, because it's way more work than you'd ever imagine. So you really don't get any kind of free time. Your nights you spend working, your mornings you spend working, and when you're not working, you're watching movies, which is basically working again to just try to keep up with everything. So yeah,
We made ZombieCon before we had our daughter Anya,
yeah,
and
thank you.
so
Okay.
and yeah, and that was its own marathon of a post-production journey that took a long time. But Autonomous was our first project since we had her, and gotta say, thank God and God bless grandparents, because we definitely had some great babysitters on hand for that. For the Kyle, because I'm full time basically watching her, and I take care of the marketing for other projects and the
hmm
socials at the time. But for the pre-production and planning of Autonomous, that was all Kyle. I mean, he wrangled that project together single-handedly. And once I was able to get some support with babysitters, then I was taking over, like you said, a bunch of the stuff with producing on set and acting. But yeah, this project was Kyle just like wrangling together everything from permits to hand making props to working on storyboarding and gathering the crew and locations and just everything. So like I agree with what Kyle said. I'm not exactly quite sure how, but determination and love for what you do definitely will carry you through all the ridiculous stresses. I think kind of like parenthood.
Yeah, I'd say that the making of ZombieCon was very Avengers focused. Big
hmm
team, everyone kind of throwing in and working together. Autonomous because of the scale of the project, and we had moved across the country when we were making that, so we lost a lot of our team because they stayed in Los Angeles. It was much more like I was on the Thanos side of the equation.
Almost like autonomous, and locked in a self-driving vehicle and kind of by yourself and isolated. It was
Yeah,
much more of that kind of experience for you.
yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. As we talk about autonomous, like your like it's a 16 part episode vertical shot. Like the concept of this, because it's because of our attention span and how we engage with social media as well. When did that idea kind of pinpoint in your head to say, "Oh, I want to make this little horror movie, but vertical"?
So, got to give credit to Sean Overbeek. He's the founder of Screamify, and
Okay.
actually, Screamify licensed ZombieCon Volume One. And Sean was
Um,
a big fan of ours, and we got in contact. We were on a phone call with them, And a little bit in, he's like, throwing us the idea of a micro horror that he has written, and they have a couple other original micro horrors in production. And before you know it, he's selling us the idea of the script. We're like, we are totally in. This sounds amazing. Will you send it to us? And after we read it and had another, quick couple text messages, boom, we got contracts starting to be written. Kyle's beginning pre-production. So this thing kind of just like flew off the handle.
Yeah, and it was super exciting to get a script that dealt with a piece of technology, right? That was, growing up, like we were talking about, I grew up in the early 90s. Self-driving cars, even up until like probably 2010, like I didn't ever really, like, of course Tesla's like, oh yeah, it drives itself, but keep your hands on the wheel, and you see like horror stories of people like veering off course into this stuff, and I'm like, that's, that'll happen when we get flying cars. And the fact that they're actually rolling them out in the United States, and pretty substantially, especially in the bigger cities, it truly is. It feels like a kind of iPhone moment, but for big technology, in terms of it's changing the world in a small way right now, but you could see the long-term implications of it. And to be able to tell a story about that piece of technology with that piece of technology that's actually out there in the real world and be on the cutting edge of it seemed like a very awesome opportunity, simply because how often are those opportunities going to become available? And I don't think it happens very often. So it was a great chance.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Having it shot vertically as well. Again, that was Sean from Screamify's idea, and with all the micro horrors, and that just added to the excitement of being on the cusp of something brand new. It felt like there was a boat leaving the dock, and we didn't want to be left behind. We were like, we're all in for this. So it was very timely, and that's part of the reason that I think both of us were so gung-ho about being a part of it.
Amazing. Because for me personally, when it came to, as an artist, I'm always drawing on that rectangular page. So you've always seen it that way. And now as a creative, we tend to adapt and go with what's coming out new to be on top of it as well, so that we keep the traditional values of what we've done and move it into the future, basically. And what you guys have done there with the engaging film that you guys have done, like, I'm the creature guy, so I always want the backstory about the creature. So it's like, as much as I love watching my horror movies, I always want to know, like, the mysterious part of not knowing where, like, the predator. I mean, now we're in a phase where we know where the predator's from and why he comes to Earth and the rest of it. I always want to know a little bit more about the creature behind there. So Kyle, like, when you guys were thinking about how you were going to put a creature into this situation, or the design of it, how did you guys go through that?
So a lot of it was basically drawn directly from the script. We had, in a script like this, with a creature like this, it's not written out exactly, right? You get kind of glimpses of the creature. So a lot of that was left to us, because Screamify has been a very forward-thinking, like, indie film partner. And that's one of the stances that they really kind of stand on. And when we first started working with them, I think with any new production, company that you're kind of getting in bed with, you're kind of like, oh, well, how much freedom are we really going to get? Like, yes, they say they're indie kind of focused, but, am I about to put on a pair of golden handcuffs, for lack of a better word, like, be trapped in somewhere? But complete credit to them. As soon as we were given the script and the budget, I was, communicating with them, asking if they wanted to see the storyboards and, all the pre-production stuff. And they were like, no, we hired you guys. You guys just do it. We trust you. And it was like, oh, this is what Christopher Nolan must feel like. So it was an awesomely freeing experience. And when it came to the creature design, I was informed by the script, but I got complete latitude within that description to kind of design it the way that I saw it. So I got to kind of I had to find, specific garments that would kind of mask the creature and, more or less a modern day Grim Reaper type garb, but it wasn't like, the cloak from, the Halloween store with the, sick staff or whatever, with the size. So I was trying to find things that blended the futurism. And so I leaned heavily into kind of cyberpunk clothing, especially for the sweatshirt.
Yeah,
just to find something with layers and depths and pockets that would also read well on camera. And with the pants, I was looking for, again, something that was cyberpunky with a number of just different, chains hanging off it, just textures. After we got the costuming in, me and the crew went down to the basement and we found a bunch of old rusted tools and we just distressed the hell out of these things.
I can't tell you the amount of glee I heard from around the corner, and then I walk in, and this is like down in a basement. It looks like a torture chamber because it's like a woodworking shop type area, and they have hung the clothing up, and they are like beating it with some fake clean dirt and distressing it, and it's like little boys just like going. It was so cute.
And then for the hands of the creature, we actually we were going through a number of different creative ideas with this because the fingers needed to be long and alienish, and we weren't sure exactly how we wanted to do that. At first, I was thinking about doing it as practical applications on set with a makeup artist who would be basically casting self-designed fingers, applying them, and they were going to be kind of half mechanical, half, silicone-based, just prosthetics placed on top of the hand and glued to the hand. But we quickly realized with the limitations we had in terms of the time we had to film the creature, that was not going to be operable, both from a cost standpoint, because it was extremely expensive, because you now need to bring on an extra makeup artist just for that, and an application standpoint, because that process can take, a couple hours. It could take 5 hours. We weren't really sure at that time how long it would take. And then the reapplication. So during those fight sequences and things, if anything happened to the hands, well, then that's another 2 hours or unforeseen amount of time in the makeup chair. So problem solving quickly, I reached out to a couple companies that do really, really high-end prosthetic. I believe it's silicone-based. I forget the exact material, but extremely high-end hands and masks and full body suits. And they'll do some of these things for custom, but we didn't have time. It was like a 6-week turnaround just for delivery of things that they had already created. And it could be months long to get something custom made. So I was going through their catalog, and to be honest, they really only had on hand like orc hands from Lord of the Rings. And I was like, oh God, this is not going to... Okay, I'm thinking about how I can cut these things, how I'm going to sew them together, put things over the edges. And I'm talking to the folks over there, and I'm like, do you have anything like this? And I described what you see of the hands, and they're like, hold on. And they send me a few pictures from a box that they're getting ready to sell, and they haven't sold these hands at all. These hands were just basically sitting on the shelf, ready to hit the market in the next couple of months. They're like, would you like these? And I'm like, yes. So technically those were like the first hands of that, creature design that were in the United States and available at the time of filming. So that was also another little added excitement that we had something that was totally original and unseen before. And then for the mask element, that was actually just a cheap $20 mask off of Amazon, because I needed something with no mouth, pocketed eyes. I knew I was going to be adding VFX to the eyes to make it, depthless, to go read through with what the script had written. And we actually live next door to a fantastic art teacher. She's retired now, but she's a fantastic artist, and she's over. And I was planning on texturizing this thing, adding little veins, and it was going to take me days to put this thing together. And she saw it sitting on the table, and she's like, "What are you doing with that?" I explained it. She's like, "You mind if I take a crack at it?" I'm like, "By all means, do your worst." And it came back 2 days later looking fantastic. So I was like, "Done. You got it." And she added layers and layers of makeup just to give it, that translucent effect of skin. I added little veins in there using pieces of basically, little strips of cloth, but I mean like very, very minuscule piece of cloth layered in on the lower end of the makeup, and then building makeup on top to hold everything in place. So...
Awesome. I love that. Creativity at its best. Absolutely amazing. It looked great. Once you kind of get to that scene, and I'm trying not to spoil it, but guys, make sure you guys have to check it out. And I will put the links below in the description. Erin, I wanted to speak to you regarding both of the roles from ZombieCon and Autonomous. Like when you place yourself in these characters, what sort of processes and like things that that you get you into that zone to play these characters, because it's a scary moment. I think in both stories, you're put in a situation where you're like, what the hell is going on, and how quickly it escalates as well. How do you get frantic so quickly on the screen?
Well, my preparation for every role that I do is like completely different. I'm not
Hmm.
like I have my toolbox and then I follow a rigid process. I think about it a lot as well from the producer standpoint because I'm
Hmm.
looking at it from a top-down perspective. How does my character fit overall in the piece that as a producer I want to see at the end of it? But for ZombieCon, it was so unique. I mean, we could go down this rabbit hole forever, but I will say the other Rockets were our good friends and that we'd
Yeah.
also worked with on many other creative projects that we'd helmed, short films, web series. So we knew them really well, and the characters were written with elements of our personality woven in, and like a lot of
Okay.
creative licenses also changed completely. But little elements that kind of like made, and just being friends in general, when we were vibing and talking, things just like fell and really gelled and sunk into place. And on that one as well, we took our time and had some rehearsals that Kyle ran from watching anime together in our house
Oh, yeah.
where we filmed it, like on that couch, chilling, barbecue, drinks, like the whole thing, to actually doing like some real rehearsals where we rented a space and we're going through scenes. And with Claire, like I put so much of my heart and like childhood self into elements of her as well. And in terms of getting frantic on set, it just depends on the scene and the day and what was working. But Autonomous was, and why I love the role as well, is completely opposite. This is a character that's at a different point in her life. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, they're in a relationship, they're arguing, they're not happy. But just from an actor standpoint as well, you're stuck in one location. It's you and the other actor. And it's this intense back and forth, almost ping pong match of insults and stress before then the other real stress comes in.
Hmm.
So I was pumped, and the fact as well that Claire's got a big heart, and a lot of that comes through, and she's kind of a little bit more of a hero type character in different ways with the friendship group. This one, Derek and Amy are both, regardless of who you're rooting for, both of them are having a tough time, and they're both slinging shots just as much as they're taking them.
Mm-hmm.
So I loved it. It was a really cool experience. Getting excited to shoot for the vertically too. So thinking
Mm.
about how I would use my tools, my voice, my reactions, and all that was totally different with autonomous. No, knowing I'm like in this tiny frame, but
That's right.
vertically, and I'm wanting to pull the audience in because that's the whole thing with verticals is you want to get the attention immediately, but not overdo it. So it just was a balance with both. But what I really did love was the extreme different characters and the extreme different circumstances, and even just the way it was being shot. Amazing.
No, really good. It's and with autonomous as well, the conversations you guys are having in the car as well. This is everyday couples that go through this, and it's like, how do you kept it engaging to like, oh my God, I know this, I know this exactly. A memory will pop up in your mind, even if it's a past relationship, and you're like, oh my God, I remember this. So you guys really captivated that really well.
I got to give credit to Kyle there on like his direction on it was amazing because he had Dominic, who also is awesome, who played
Mm,
Derek. He had us both like be off script, no script back and forth, and we both did. We were off book memorized, and so we would do whole chunks for what we could, especially in the argument scenes. So it was like 20 pages of just running through the entire argument in one setup, one camera location setup. And so it was a different experience getting to literally go through the whole swath of emotions in the argument in whole chunks like that.
Yeah, it was very play-esque as
yeah.
opposed to, usually you'll cut something up for camera much
Mm,
shorter, maybe 5 pages, 2 pages at a time. Here, because we're in a singular location, we've got two actors, we have limited time. It allowed us the flexibility to play with it much more like a stage play in terms of our actors running through this conversation before we got to kind of the more hectic moments where we obviously needed to cut for, you know, specific eyeline reasons. And again, not trying to spoil anything, but there are times where you can't just film it, one for
yes, that's
one
right.
all the
Yeah.
way through. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's very unique, guys, and it's you must be like super proud to be able to be like one of the first to do something like this as well. And it's always amazing when you can have that. I kind of say on like we have in the UK we have a record of achievements of things that we've done, and it's like I do it for my daughter. So like anything that they accomplish, whether it's a grading in kung fu or art lessons or something like that, like I keep a for me it's a personal record, and maybe hopefully when they grow older and they look for it and they'll be like, all right, I got to achieve it. It's all about the little wins. I think we're not really encouraged about doing something unique and being able to push it out there in the world. And I know the world's a crazy place at the moment now, but just for ourselves to have that happy moment. So you guys should be super proud of both of the projects, because I fully had a great time. ZombieCon, I related to a lot more because it gave me my teenage years in there as well. But the friendship, the family, uh, was you guys had some really important messages in ZombieCon that really hit hard, and then you brought something really new with Autonomous, because I feel like with technology and movies in general are going in this direction, even with the larger studios as well, moving heavily based on socials because it's the way they market a movie. I think you guys have done something absolutely amazing there and should be super, super, super proud.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That means a lot, truly.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm going to steal that idea of you keeping the record of achievements for your daughter. That is so precious.
It
And
is,
something
it is.
for them to look back on, too. And knowing that
Definitely.
that is the one, curating, keeping a proud little booklet of it all. That's precious.
I suppose I get that from my dad. He's always been into photography and film. So growing up in the 80s and the 90s was, spaghetti westerns, horror movies,
That's
and
awesome.
it's like he collected everything, his cinema tickets, movies, the movies he took us to when we were kids as well. Some movies I don't know how he got us into, but he did. He doesn't like to admit it now, but like I feel like with the power of being creative and what it does for someone who suffers mental health issues and pressures of life as well, to be able to put something together like that. So there's one main thing that we do on the podcast is we talk about mental health quite a lot regarding stuff like pop culture, because for me and my brother, when we started this podcast, it helped us find our tribe almost, and things that we love. And it's hard enough to get along in a world where we're so divided so much. But with doing big projects like what you guys do, how do you guys look after yourself in the process, and how do you guys look after each other as well?
Oh my God. Well, a lot of hope.
Yeah.
Just, I think that you have to kind of remind yourself that this is what you wanted to do, and that the sacrifices that you're making, right? Because it is, like I was saying previously, it is a tremendous amount of work, and you'll find yourself sitting in the way that we do things, right? We haven't been blessed with the budgets to, hire out all the jobs. So a lot of this stuff, especially in post production, it's kind of falls on my back. So I'm sitting in the chair forever working on this thing. Erin's handling all of the marketing. So it takes a mental toll, but it comes down to kind of being able to lean on each other in your weakest moments
Hmm.
and build off of your biggest moments, right? Like you were saying, kind of keeping, a booklet of wins and remembering that the small little things that you do are not small and insignificant, especially as you continue down the path, right? There are things that we're doing today that may seem small and insignificant to us now, but 10 years ago, they would have been the biggest things in the entire world. And trying to keep in touch with who you used to be, remember the past, live in the present, and plan for the future. And just kind of, try to operate with that to the best of your ability and rely on your partner and rely on your friends and team. It doesn't hurt to step out of the office every once in a while, get a nice dinner, treat yourself to something, maybe go a little calorie heavier than you normally would, you know, just kind of binge eat a little bit and then, get back to work, maybe take off one night, pop a good movie on, remember why you're doing what you're doing, and just keep having that moment where you can remind yourself that this is the thing that you wanted to do.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the strongest tool to fight off the depressive sweeps that definitely come through when you're working this hard on something, especially in isolation. And so that I found to be very helpful.
And unlike, like any sort of 9 to 5 or any sort of more structured job, like there is not sort of a defined end or this is how it's going to be, this is the touchstone that's next going to happen, this is the day that you get paid. Like it's all over the place when you're making your own art and kind of off. Like it feels a lot of times like you're in a raft boat in the middle of the ocean, just like how the hell did I end up here? But like Kyle was saying, because I agree with everything
I was going to say, it's kind of like the opening scene of Pirates of the Caribbean Black Pearl.
Yes. Have the enthusiasm and the calm of Jack Jack Sparrow when
Oh.
things are literally sinking. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Yeah, but I also, while you were talking, I can't tell you how many times I was thinking back where you would think that this event or it's this screening or this big XYZ, whatever it is, you come in with so much hope, being like, I hope that this thing is going to be a thing that then launches us here. And, maybe you have some wins, but then ultimately it doesn't. Maybe things go really right and things go really wrong. Ultimately, those things that you were pinning all your hopes and dreams on, at the end of the day, you remember, okay, that really was just another step in this long, walk that we're taking here. And while you want the big wins and the big highs, most of the time, like Kyle said, it's the little things that just keep sort of propelling you forward and to your next big thing that's awesome. So not placing too much, importance on things that, whether they go right or wrong, you're still going to be continuing on your journey.
And I'd say during production, one of the great things, especially when working in these smaller teams, and you want to keep the just kind of mood up on set. Being able to take the team upstairs, watch some of the dailies that you just shot, right? Have a glass of wine or a beer or something and just totally unplug for a second and say, "Hey, we did that." I just find it to be immensely helpful for my own mental health, and I think it also helps the whole crew get excited and invigorated to see, oh yeah, this is, we're moving forward. This is looking great. This shot looked great. I love that take. So
100%. Just watch out for those actresses, man. I don't know. I'm not talking about myself, not at all. But sometimes you're watching those dailies and you're like, what's with that lighting? What about tomorrow? Can you give me a little more fill there? Jesus, where's my highlight? Producer me was like, shut up, Erin, and actress me was like, come on, what are you doing to me?
Well, that's usually when I have to come in. I'm like, just wait for the color correct, please. Wait for the color correct.
Just like when you watch a rough edit, you got to fill in the gaps with your imagination. It's gonna be taken care of. Trust the process.
Bless you guys. No, it's amazing. And the fact that you've been able to do this for such a long time together is where it's quite inspiring, because there's loads of people on the same boat trying to get out there, trying to push through. And as you said, it's those little wins. I've always said that since we started this 10 years ago, and we didn't realize where we were heading. It was just two brothers geeking out. My brother had moved abroad. He moved to Hong Kong. No, actually, he was at New York at the time, and then moved to Hong Kong. And he was like, we love movies. Why don't we just talk about it? Like Joe Rogan's just talk shit on a podcast and he's got millions of views. Why don't we just give it a go? So I was like, okay, let's give it a go. And we did that. And we've had so many little wins, and we're still having little wins. But this is a little win for us as well. So shout outs to Glenn for hooking us up as well, because he's amazing as well. And I remember when he was starting off his podcast, I was just saying, I think the fear that most of us have is not doing it. And it's a regret you don't really want to live with. Just do it. And off the whim, you don't realize what will come out of it and where you go. It's been an amazing journey, and getting to see other creatives winning is exactly what you want to see, because it just pushes, I think it pushes everybody, well, it should push everybody else forward into different things. But I suppose everybody's having their own situation before they can go win. But I try to encourage as many people as I can. And the podcast was that. It was encouraging everyday people to talk about things that they love. And we get to do stuff that I love, which is pop culture and movies. And I get to see new projects like what you guys put together and fully enjoy it as well. And it's yeah, super proud, guys. It was good fun. ZombieCon was amazing. Autonomous is, leading towards the future. I can't thank you guys enough for coming onto the show and sharing a bit of the experience as well from both of you guys. And yeah, I'm super proud of you guys. It was really cool. I love that, and I love the fact that I can share a moment with you guys as well and enjoy that as well. So thank you so much for jumping on the show and geeking out with me.
Oh, it's truly our pleasure.
Our pleasure, our honor. Shout out to Glenn as well. What a gentleman. He's amazing. Thank him so much on our behalf as well for hooking us up here. And congrats on 10 plus years podcasting. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's insane.
Just like It's like you said, like you gotta at some point just rip the cord and say I'm jumping in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
like usually the hardest step too, is just committing and saying, all right, I'm not, no time is the perfect time. None of the pieces are never going to be always there. So you just have to say, I really want it badly enough where I want to do it.
Right. Yeah. I always take to heart, right, the saying, it's like begun is half done.
Hmm.
Is really getting started is the most difficult part in any of the processes. And especially when it comes to doing art or making films, it's like the one piece of advice I'd give anyone. It's like, don't wait till it's perfect. Because it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be messy. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be wrong. You're going to look at the first thing you make, and and I would say, I'm sure that there's the unicorn out there, right? The first thing they make is like, boom, wow, this is awesome, and everything just goes well for them. That's very rare. It's probably
Yes,
not going
that's
to
right.
happen. And it's like, so usually the first thing you make, you're going to be watching, you'll be super proud of it, and in 10 years, you should go back and say, oh my God, I can't believe I made that. I can't believe I did that. That is not how I would do things today, but that's good. That means that you've grown and you learn from all of your wins, all of your losses, and failing is just another way to learn something. And it's like, it should be embraced. It shouldn't be seen as a negativity.
No.
It should be seen as a superpower.
Failing is
It
not the
creates
fun way to learn, but it's
success.
definitely the best way to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I'm still waiting to put my short movie up, which was in 1997. No, actually, sorry, 1994. We did a short movie called Trigger Happy. So we grew up on Hong Kong cinema. So martial arts and John Woo movies. That was like one major part of growing up as a teenager. So I wanted to be John Woo, and I created this movie. We went on holiday to Bangladesh, and I got all the relatives together and we made this movie. But because it's got a scene with my uncle was like, you cannot put that up on YouTube. I do not want nobody seeing me in this traditional outfit. It's going to, and I'm like, it's so funny, and I love it to bits. It's so cheesy, but it was like my first attempt to use a VHS camcorder and record dialogue and directing people. And it was like, I would love to do this again. So, and seeing some of the projects I've seen this year from like indie movies, it's starting to give me the hunger for it. And it's like, I want to do this because Carl, I wanted to say, because CinemaCon, the photography, the scenery was lit really well, like amazingly well. Like I could see it coming off a comic book page, and it something clicked this morning, dude, in my head. So it's like, thank you, both of you. Yeah, it was good fun. I love the scenery and the visuals and the lighting. I'm like, oh wow, you lit this really well. It was lit really well. So definitely amazing. But yeah, thank you for coming on, guys. Honestly, I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
go through more of the catalog, and hopefully we could get to catch up before I kind of end this. Future projects.
Well, I was just going to say, in terms of the lighting that you were talking about, I
Yeah.
just wanted to throw this out there for anyone who's filming on a budget. I think we did a fantastic job with lighting ZombieCon, but there were definitely times where we were limited because of the crew size. We only sometimes, at one point, I think a couple of the scenes, it was just myself and possibly no one else. Some of the scenes, it was myself and one guy, my friend Chad Tolson, with the boom pole. The big scenes, however, right, we had Edwin, we had Zach Gibson, we had
Yeah.
our whole kind of crew together. And even for those big scenes, right, you're only dealing with two people off camera, one person pulling focus, one sound guy. So there aren't a lot of free hands. So we were lighting things, universally from the 3-point kind of method and system. But when I was going back in through the color correct, and this is the piece of little kind of advice I would give to anyone, especially because DaVinci Resolve is free to download. Don't be afraid, especially with today's technology and filming, to go in and add artificial highlights where you need. And I'm talking very, very subtly, but those, just masking out a face and bumping it up a little bit, or adding a little bit of saturation to specific parts of the frame, as long as you do it tastefully and you don't break the colors,
That's
it's
right.
a really, really cheap and effective way for indie filmmakers to raise the production value of their pieces. It is
Amazing.
time consuming, but that's the trade-off, right?
Yeah.
Usually if you want what is it? It's like a tripod of things. It's like, if you want it good, it's going to either take time or it's going to be expensive. Like, you can't have
Of course.
it can't be fast, good, and not expensive. So you're gonna at some point you're going to
Something's gotta
be
give.
not connecting one of
In
these
between.
things.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. thank you for your time. I know you guys have got a busy one soon, but definitely super grateful for coming on the show. And I'm gonna have all the everything in the description, guys. Movie, socials. Please go check it out. And yeah, thank you guys again. Much appreciated.
Well, thank you so much. It's
Sure.
an absolute pleasure and delight. And anytime you want to talk cinema or projects or whatever, just give us a call.
Count us
I
always
will
down.
do. Definitely.
Thanks for watching, and make sure you follow us on all our socials. You got X, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. And do subscribe to the YouTube channel for more of the long form content and the breaking news. Also, guys, if you guys are on the commute, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Spotify. And there's some more videos for you guys to watch.